Okay, we have a first match upcoming.
We are going to see the first match, which, as we were told, is going to be our favorite control deck in the meta. So Tamyo, we're going
Maybe
to
combo deck.
maybe a combo deck. We don't really know yet. We'll see. And against that is my absolute favorite, Yoshimaru, Ever Faithful, and Bruse.
Okay.
So we're gonna see an aggro deck against combo or control deck. We will see 100%.
Yeah, and you claim that
gonna be-
the Tamyo has an advantage. For
Okay, we can see the start already. Okay, we came to it just a little later, so we can see that Yoshimaru already started. They started with the new land from Modern Horizons 3 that gives you 3 damage, I believe.
yeah,
And then Yoshimaru on first.
starting on 17 life, it's no bother against Tamyo.
Yeah,
but
absolutely.
You see, like prime example of the start.
Okay.
Turn one commander, turn one.
Yeah,
second
absolutely.
commander.
Then we can see Den of the Bugbear, which is a thing that it's nice to see on the second turn, and Felden. So that's gonna be a counter on Yoshimaru, if it goes through, of course. Because against Tamyo, you never know. Against a control deck, you can't be sure. Okay, so presumably it
A
went
bit
through.
pitied, we haven't seen a legendary land, because that would mean that Yoshimaru can run straight through the Tamyo.
That's true,
Then this case, it's about to be blocked.
So one of them got blocked, and Philip on Tamyo took 2 damage.
Yeah, Yoshimaru starting means they have a really great advantage, because
That's
now we have
absolutely true.
2 creatures in play against the control deck. That primary interaction is going to be counterspells.
Okay, and on Philip's side, it was just a fetch land and pass. Okay,
Yeah.
you're gonna see some interaction, definitely.
Yes, there is a huge decision between solving the actual base, the creatures that are already in play,
Yeah.
or preventing something even nastier coming on turn 3.
Absolutely true. And as a Yoshimaru lover, I can say that this deck really loves to play their 3-drops, which the 3-drops are absolutely crazy. Like a lot of them are super scary. Oh, okay. Another non-legendary land on the side of Yoshimaru.
Suboptimal.
Maybe a
but you
little
can see-
suboptimal, but still. Okay, Stoneforge Mystics. So we're gonna look for something. If it goes through, which might be unlikely.
Yeah, I don't believe he can afford that.
That's absolutely true, because it would probably be either GT,
Shadow Spear?
Shadow Spear as well as a nice choice. So Philip fetched into Tropical Islands, I believe.
Yes.
Yeah. And we're gonna probably see some response to the Stoneforge Mystic.
Also, I would point out some useless fact. We see on both sides the creature land from the Baldur's Gate.
It's not Baldur's Gate, it's the Forgotten Realms.
Forgotten
It was the
Realms,
standard set. I think that the one on Yoshimaru's side might even come in handy.
Yeah.
Because it's just 4 mana for activation and it's 4
On
damage.
Tamyo's side, it is kind of rough. I don't think, or maybe we will see.
Sometimes the games just come to an end like this, you know? The deck will just control.
And since
then
we
win.
see that Yoshimaru is currently going more wide rather than
So there is
high.
Mana Leak as a response. Yeah.
Yes. So as we expected, the Stoneforge Mystic didn't come into play. We got a dog.
Okay, Selfless Savior. So a doggo came to town. Once again, just a block on one of those creatures, probably Felden.
Yeah.
And 2 damage via Yoshimaru.
Yeah, another non-legendary permanent comes into
Absolutely.
play. A bit unlucky on the Yoshimaru side, but what I wanted to say, the fact that Yoshimaru is going more wider means that the Tamyo, if it gets flipped, it's even more powerful. Because it is
Absolutely.
like -1 to attack for every single creature, meaning the dog card, the Selfless Savior, can do pretty much nothing in this matchup, because understandable. I don't think it is really relevant if it would be the the bodyguard. Or
you're right.
That gives protection. It would be a bit more relevant.
You're absolutely right. Especially, blue does not really have a lot of destroy effects. So it's probably going to be more like bounce effects style, or maybe even like the flip Tamyo with the plus ability to get
And
minus.
going on
1.
defensive, because This is something, even if it's not the most powerful, I believe, Yoshimaru start, the Tamyo player has to deal with it, some sorts.
Oh, and there's been a very interesting play, Harbinger of the Tides.
I really wanted to notice the forest basic going fetched. I firstly assumed that the fetch land is going to be through basic forest.
Yeah, Harbinger of Tides
The
was
player,
the result.
yes. The player cannot afford to take damage fetching breeding pool if he needs to have the untapped land. But yes, Harbinger is actually one of the cards that I used to defeating Yoshimaru, because as you already pretty much know, the Yoshimaru player, he plays a lot of non-basics.
Absolutely. The deck does not have a lot of room for basic lands because you want a lot of legendary lands, which we haven't seen, unfortunately. But they would make Yoshimaru much bigger. You even play Hammerheim, which is kind of useless mountain.
The Ganjo.
Absolutely. You don't really activate the cards. You just play them for the +1/+1 counter.
It come into play. But we have a situation when the Yoshimaru is kind of a lockdown.
Absolutely locked out of mana, basically. There might be some artifacts, potentially, as we mentioned, the Shadow Spear or GTA.
From the Eastern Fort that countered, really nice for the Tamyo. But as I wanted to say, not a big board presence.
Yeah, absolutely. And there's been Vendelian Clique on the side of Philip, which means that we're gonna see the hand full of interesting cards that can't really be played.
Just checking out, there is nothing that Yoshimaru can use in this situation. And we see that there is not anything.
But there is a lot of interesting choices, especially the Flowering of the White Tree on the right. That's a crazy card in the deck, which will probably go out. Yes, it's getting discarded.
This is kind of interesting because I don't think in this situation you don't have to put any card in the bottom of your opponent's library. And drawing them extra card means they have one more chance to draw a basic land.
It's true.
And start playing the game again.
It's true. It's absolutely
true. There is a situation where maybe I would not want to put anything from my opponent's hand, just checking it. If there is not some Fury or Solitude, something they can play for free. And just blocking the board, checking, okay, nothing's bad, Flowering can stay.
Yeah, and there we can see the power of a flyer, Shadow Spear being equipped. So we have a 4/2 in the air with Trample and Lifelink going to the red zone, and now stabilizing Philip on Tamyo, which will probably be very hard for Jacopo Yoshimaru to come back from.
Not only he managed to stabilize it, lock down the mana, but also there starts
and there's been a scoop.
Gaming life, pretty obvious because there is nothing much the Yoshimaru can do at that point.
Absolutely,
cannot cast anything. Your opponent has a pretty nice clock for a blue deck.
For sure.
For 4 or 6 per turn and gaining life in the process. So there is not even a chance for Yoshimaru for the game to go
There was
long,
basically no way
chance to drawing something, for example, Pyrokinesis that can deal with the Harbinger, or drawing some kind of lands so Yoshimaru can finally play the game again. It was finished.
There were still options, but maybe it was more nicer choice. He could have still gone for the Fury line just to hope to draw Fury and get out of the game.
But in 100 card deck, that's
also that's taking into account the fact that it would probably not resolve. Because you're playing against a control deck with a lot of counter spells.
Since you don't get to play match cards afterwards, your opponent, every counter spell they draw since that point, it is online and it is prepared for the situation when you finally can hopefully resolve something and the Tamil just swoops in and dash the
Absolutely. Well, this was just quite quick game.
It was crazy draw.
But we have also seen the power of Tamio on first turn, because she basically blocked about 6 damage.
Yes. Not only that she can fly, she can generate the card advantage through the clue tokens and flip into a planeswalker that can bunch of situations serve as a win condition, because you just plus, go into ultimate, draw half of the deck, and your opponent concedes because there's nothing else you can do.
Absolutely.
Also, you have a turn 1 0-3 blocker. That due to the fact that Yoshimaru never lived to the free third counter.
That's right.
Second counter free power that can go through, meaning Tamyo was blocking after blocking until he managed to deal with the situation.
You're absolutely right. We'll probably see, definitely see start from Jakub, which is certain. And we just missed one little fact, that it's not the Bruse build, it's a Tana build with Yoshimaru. So there is an access to green.
I haven't noticed.
I haven't noticed as well. Yeah, the mana base did not really sell that. But there is usually just a little bit of a splash to the green color, because the majority is in red and white, especially white. So we once again see Yoshimaru on turn 1.
Yeah, just be fixing the life total so it can.
Yeah, it's Jakub is on 19 due to the fact that he played Battlefield Forge, so every single mana is gonna hit just a little bit, but in this particular matchup it does not really matter.
Well, when we saw the last game, there was the Vendalian Click hitting back, so there can be some considerations.
It's true.
Life, because there is some kind of situations when the clock can be met both ways. You're right, but more aggressive on this side is definitely Yoshimaru. Now, we've seen turn 1 Tamyo, a classic, nice play. Now again, from the Hall of the Giant Lord.
Yeah, that's right. It came again. Okay, now we have Arena of Glory on the side of Jakub. Which is
to play tapped.
Yeah, that's right. It's gonna come into play tapped.
Because there is no mountain.
Because there is no mountain. I think we'll have to just
call judge.
Do judge call them. Oh, sorry. We'll have to stop the boys just for a moment. So there's.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, there was some kind of confusion on the player.
Yeah, that's right. The Arena of Glory card is still quite a new one, and yes, you do need to have a mountain for it to come into play untapped, which was a little unfortunate on the side of Jakub.
I would mention I got caught with this kind of Modern Horizons lands before. It was the green one, the Shifting Woodland, and I also played it not having a forest. Thinking it come into land.
It can happen. The cards are quite new. On the side of Philip, we can see Shadow Spear and just the fetch lands. Okay, and now another tapped land on the.
We kind of missed the fact that Yoshimaru managed to deal with Tamyo, which is a big deal.
That's true. That's true.
Strength of a one mana commander means that you have board presence from the start of the game. And if your opponent deals with it, the recast 3 mana Tamyo, not that great. And again. So
absolutely. And you know, the 3 to the back is quite important. The 3 toughness creature at the start is very nice to see and very nice to deal with. Well, not very nice to deal with for the Yoshimaru player. So the lightning bolt was very prompt in this case.
Also meaning that once the Tamyo player wants to recast it, this is meaning free turn for the Yoshimaru player.
Absolutely.
So the player is tapped out and Yoshimaru can do whatever he wants to.
Yeah, and as I said before, on 3 mana, Yoshimaru players have a lot of options to play, a lot of interesting legendary 3-drops.
Yeah, I just kind of noticed that the Yoshimaru player is Czech Climax, which I believe is the one that lost to me because I knocked him out with Harbinger.
Well, he got the same result today as well.
Yeah,
we've also seen the power of the new surveillance from Murderers at Karlov Manor. That was the, I think, Maze Henge. Oh, and we see Oko.
You got David Tamyo, but you got...
Now there is a new problem in town, which is sort of an unkillable planeswalker due to how big he is.
Yeah, you need something like Skycraft Apparition, which I don't know if you include the card in the deck.
Usually is, depends on the build, of course, of Jakub.
What I have noticed, and it's really weird, that the Yoshimaru player got 2 untapped lands and not played anything. So the draw, the deck is not really helping.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. The keep was not the best. And also, none of these lands are legendary, which means they did not really help him to grow his Yoshimaru, which
got Yoshimaru since turn 1, and it has 0 counters. Now we finally see something.
Yeah, now we see Boromir, which is a nice and interesting card. It's a 3/3 with Vigilance, and it also can deal with free spells.
Yes, and
it probably came out with haste from the Arena of Glory,
dealing
which would deal 5 damage to Oko. Yes, so Oko went down to 1.
Not quite unkillable. We went from the situation when it was just Yoshimaru, nothing else, into dealing 5 damage.
You're absolutely right. It can get through quite quickly. Now, Philip is reading the Boromir card, which is very interesting. And as I mentioned, it has 2 interesting abilities. The first one is whenever an opponent casts a spell, if no mana was spent to cast it, counter that spell.
Yeah, the most interesting of the abilities. The second one is a protection.
Yeah, it's like basically a selfless spirit kind of ability and ring temp.
Exactly. But the first one is way more interesting.
Absolutely.
And more also needed to be mindful of.
And here comes Nadu.
Here comes the bird.
Yeah, here comes the birds. Here comes
Fantastic.
the bird. Now,
and in combination with Shadow Spear, I must say.
Yeah, well, it's only in combination with Shadow Spear, but it's still there. And we all need to remember the fact that even if you just have Nadu and opponent tries to destroy it, it still triggers.
Yes, if it's a targeted removal spell.
Yeah, absolutely.
That is a huge strength of the card, because even if it gets answered right away, you still get a card, which means the answering it is a card at disadvantage for the opponent.
Yes.
We also see the food is now a 3/3, which means a huge board presence.
And as we were mentioning, it gets swords to plowshares.
Yeah, so first,
oh
my god, mental misstep from the top!
And there is a flip on the mental misstep.
This is the huge strength of Dadu, and this is what I've done to players before.
Absolutely crazy, and he's gonna counter that. My lord.
Yeah, you wanted to deal with Nadu? Too bad. Here, misstep.
This is crazy. This is absolutely crazy. That's a scoop on the side of Jakub.
That was...
Yeah, we can see the power of Nadu. Absolute craziness.
Yeah, I have to say, in combination of not really carrying the deck in the Yoshimaru, that didn't present with...
We're absolutely, it's absolutely true.
Best place.
That's right. The Yoshimaru did not really show its maximum potential. The deck did not really support, or at least the mana base did not really support Yoshimaru to make it grow much bigger than it should. It's absolutely possible to have like a 5/5 on the third turn.
That was a huge discrepancy between what both decks presented. On one hand, you had Yoshimaru that missed the legendary lands, missed a really nice curve.
Yeah.
On the second hand, you see Tamyo, that first game it solved the board presence.
Yeah, absolutely. With Harbinger and just lock the opponent out of the game completely.
And then presented very fast clock with Shadow Spear.
Yeah, and the Vendilion
Click. And on the second game, you dealt with Tamio. Okay, here's Oko, here's Nadu, and Nadu got mental misstep, and it is kind of a sad situation you see when you have the fastest and most powerful aggro deck in the meta, and against it you have a deck that is mostly control mid-range, and it has a way bigger board presence on the free.
Yeah, it's true. Well, the deck was able to answer quite a lot of things, and especially, I think it was maybe also the breaking point for Jakub with Yoshimaru, the fact that the mental misstep just came out of the top and completely destroyed his play.
Huge psychological hit.
But it's crazy, the odds. one in
that happens.
90, basically.
But there is like flipping miracle spells from
Yeah, absolutely.
very kind of play here. I am so happy, or not happy for like WoW players because I don't want to be mean, but I'm really happy that we get to see some fantastic situations.
And it was a great play. It was very interesting, you know.
How powerful the deck seems
absolutely.
to be, because I mean you have Commander turn 1, then you have a counterspell. Then you have Oko, that is like the most broken planeswalker ever printed. And then you have Nat,
which is probably the most broken. Well, 3-drop in green and blue. There's been
very closely,
very
kind
close.
of in that ballpark kind of creature, and then you just have it. And a free mana counterspell from the top.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, also interesting thing, one last thing that I wanted to mention is the sad part on Yoshimaru's side of the table. Imagine that there was just one more legendary land. The Oko would die, and there would be no 3/3 made from the food. So that was also a breaking point. All right, thank you very much for watching this match. We will take a little break and see you in round number 2.
Okay, see you.
Bye for now.